Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Michael Venezia, head trader, and one of the coaches at TradeGATEHub. I apologize. I'm actually a little tardy today. Okay, so it's Monday. You know what? It almost doesn't really matter what day it is, as long as you have a plan, because it's still earnings season coming out, a big CPI number tomorrow, which is Tuesday. There are the word's getting, I got to find a new word for it. I got to get out my thesaurus. I got a thesaurus for like my eighth grade graduation, and I have my name printed on it. It's very archaic. So what is, we got to find something that's synonymous with, binary, big move, action, whatever. Okay. So it's tough to rest on things. Like what I've been finding out from my peers, especially. So if I'm going to pontificate, you know what? I'll sign in. Everybody can go through the routine, and we'll do that. So my peers and I'm talking about people that are better traders than I, if that's actually possible, being facetious. You know what? Everybody's very reticent to hold these long-term positions. Baidu, good G money right on top of it. Beautiful. Asan again. Asan gave a little back, didn't it? It did, Gerard. But you know what? The one that worked was Fastly. That got the upgrade. FSLY. I was thinking about in the show. Oh my God, it's up 240. I didn't even see that. I got in the shower and it was look at Fastly. So I'm jumping ahead. You know what I mean? I don't even care. As long as it's pertinent. This Fastly got the upgrade. Short squeeze is relevant. Asan was holding well too. And the reason why when I signed into TradeGATEHub Monday morning is our most amount of data is Gerard. As is everybody. Listen, I'm not a single. We have a lot of viewers here. I don't mean to single everybody out, but Gerard happens to be more prominent in terms of his posts. And this is basically, first of all, I did sign on this morning, and this is how we do it. Obviously, I signed on this morning, but it's a sign like I posted last week. Here's my one of my main screens, if you will. Okay, it's stock picking. Okay, you had Tesla that was down $6 at one point. There's the Google long-term chart. I mean, I know that Microsoft was up nicely because they have some sort of Bing apparently is doing getting into the chat bot situation, if you will, and that's why AI, which was the stairs up and elevator down, 31 to 20 now sitting there. By the way, these type of charts, I digress. I usually don't really have that pop V vertical pop again. They very rarely do they go in a W shape. So you need this to base and to sit and to have some sort of news. If you're in this stock, it's not over, but certainly the news is out, if you will. So, the rest of them are still going on this artificial intelligence news, Microsoft being, again, the best of breed. The other ones took a backseat, BBAI and SOUN. But what I wanted to point out, and again, I'll finally get to it, is that with this type of stock picking market, like I said, as you see Google down, Tesla down, coins down, Boeing is one that's breaking out of it's a bull flag. All those my bigger guys are adding to this position now, and why wouldn't you? There's the bull flag. The RSI looks nice. Let's go to the weekly, the ultimate complement. You might have some 200-day resistance in the mid 200s, and yes, it's a CPI coming in, but it's acting well. And that's just an example. Square, once again, PayPal had earnings on Friday down. Square reacting conversely. Net did act well, had earnings on Friday, if you remembered. But you know what? You didn't have to play it because the last 2 days, Net went from 58 to 62. That was a high print. News, range, and good price action. What does Net have? Net has 3 million shares. Is a little after 11. That's good enough for me. Keep going. YPF is a fun stock. Some people don't really chime in a lot, if you will. Posted somebody, Gerard likes this. Oh, who was it? I think it was Joe, but like this. This is one of my bigger positions, and it should be. That once again came out of the flag well under owned. It's well under bought. Ultimate complement is it's above the gap. It's got a gap to 15. The ultimate complement is I wouldn't even think about shorting it. Next, UAL, Delta acting well. Lennar on an upgrade. Asan, let's go to the point. Reals, I'm going to have no credibility left. Paul, thank you for posting very aggressively, by the way. Everybody's not getting it. Here it is. This was 3 days ago. Gerard posted. Spec sweepers show some interest in Asan. So today it had nice news. Let's look at Asan on the chart. Yes, it's one of the ones you can't put much credence in because it's one of these stocks that have been, pummeled. But let's go to actually, I want to go a little bit to the daily. Here's the daily. It held the 50-day. You could have bought it on the 50-day. It looks worse than it is. 14 to 15, to 15, had a nice run up. So maybe the short squeeze is out and they got the shorts out. And hopefully, as earnings season starts to abate and the CPI and all these economics numbers come in well, that fundamentals will take over the short squeeze move and hold these type of bases. For example, like a Shopify held, for example, or what else is holding very well? Micron's acting well. You know what? I want to do it. Something saying in the back of my mind, Mike, don't do it yet with MU. But the other ones are hanging in there. The semis are still leading. There's GFS, another one that was this one never really broke down. GFS was a form best to breed, still hanging in there. Nevada, I'm not interested in Nevada. ON Semiconductor. If you're in this TradeGATEHub for a week or a year, that name needs no introduction, not to sound corny. But what I'm saying is there's stock picking. Don't worry about the indices. And which is why, you have a nice pullback on Tesla from what? From 216 to 188, but the VIX is still near the lows. Well, no, not, you know what I mean. Still not as volatile as it should be. Nowhere near. And I don't think everybody would disagree on that. So what I'm saying is I'll go back to TradeGATEHub and make my point. The smart money is leading now. And when a stock like Asan has a squeeze, and it's yet to be determined if there was a squeeze, it certainly looked like one by the chart, but then it gets backed up by some option guys going out a little bit further. Spec sweepers. I'll have to look further where these Asan calls were, but a move like that, for example, let's look at a Meta. The Meta had a nice move after earnings. Everybody knows that, pulled back a little bit, resting. Now you want to see guys go, all right, Meta, we have some confidence. Let's go in some calls until June, maybe even December, hopefully even January. So that's what you want to see with the options. A little bit of on the specs, the spec sweeps work. Once again, I didn't split the atom, but one of the mantras in our room is, we like to follow the smart money. I'm not that smart to be a leader. One of the tools that at least in the market, in stock picking, one of the tools that we have, and I think everybody's really catching on, it's really holding well, is option flow based upon sentiment on pullbacks or relative strength and general rotation. So, and that's what's really been holding. We're not, and stocks intraday, based upon good price action. Price action means that the futures come in, the stock holds where it should. Good volume. You want to be able to get out of it because if there's an issue, MU breaking higher right now as we speak. If there's an issue, and there are always issues, volume, price action, and range. I mean, you want a stock to do a secondary on $100 million, on $100 million offering or $100 billion offering and have a 20-cent range. CFLT. Let me go to something right here. This is a stock that's getting a lot more attention, by the way. CFLT. CFLT. You know what? I have it to add in the fund. I like that. I like CFLT. That's going in. That's acting well. That has some smart money going behind it. What else? LVS still holding the earnings run. Could have given a lot of that back. It didn't. What else is acting well? GFS. What do we have? Our Baba, we bought the other day. Coach was on here online. PDD still acting the best, but there are some that are broken. IQ is one I pointed out in the morning in TradeGATEHub right here. I wouldn't be looking for one of these it's a weekly. I wouldn't be looking for one of these parabolic moves on IQ. It's certainly still where you want in the sweet spot of relative strength. And once again, I have seen call volume going in there. So IQ is active. I believe it's a Chinese Netflix, give or take. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I may be wrong. Walmart, nothing. Disney, giving it still back after the earnings. Maybe crude's going, who knows? Chevron, okay, Exxon, let's give it, okay. This is what I'm using as gauges as the market now. There's a lot of my stocks are going higher. Amazon, what are you doing? Amazon going up nicely now. Breaking high for the day. You want this Tesla? You know what? I don't even think anybody wants Tesla to go positive. That would be like too euphoric. You know what I mean? Let them pin it down a little bit. I'm actually happy that Google's still pinned down here. But you know what the tells have been in the market? basically in macro ways, three stocks. But somebody always points them out to me, and I pass it around, and it's become somewhat of an listen. It's listen, you got to watch how JP Morgan acts, how ExxonMobil. Look at crude prices. They'll look at the USO for, if you will. Okay, here's crude prices. Here's the chart on the SPX on the SPYs, if you will. Well off. Everything is well off 20, 10, 20, 30% off highs. Even the commodity itself that should be driving it. ExxonMobil made a year high on Friday with volume. It's yet to be determined if it's going to pull a Chevron Texaco and do the same thing. Although Exxon didn't have the buybacks or anything. You got to watch JP Morgan, you got to watch Exxon, and you have to watch Apple. And Apple's basically the tech stock. Those three stocks, I believe, are almost like banks that rotate, that see that huge money being, well, cash is actually still good now. We're paying. It's still a week by week basis, but in terms of equities, these are where they're parking their stocks right now. So I'm watching these intently. Google, normally if Google had a chart like this and you punch up the NAS, you thought that the NASDAQ would be a lot worse. And it's just a testament, even going long, shorter, medium term, that there are new leaders going to emerge. And here's one of them right here. AYX had earnings the other day. This stock used to be huge. I mean, this is going into stage 2 now, as everybody would say. So that's acting well for the low floaters, XPON and tops. I gave you my screen. Look at Wayfair. I was the only one buying this thing down here again. Wayfair, okay. Wayfair. I got impatient. I wanted to buy it near before I look, it was the gap in the 200-day, correct. Wayfair, the sweet spot on Wayfair. And listen, the stock came from 74 to 71. Do I think it's going to go back like pulling AI like I did it? I don't think either of those are going to make those boom, boom moves back. But you know what? For a stock like Wayfair that does have news, price action, and range, especially with it going with Amazon, forget about where it came from 2 weeks ago, 3 days ago, my third day down rule, 64 to 49. So it's come down $15. The ideal spot I wanted it was a little bit under the 50, and I got impatient. So I broke a rule. What was the rule? My small position turned into a bigger loser. So I added and added and added. I had a plan. So I started buying at 51.40 all the way down to 49.80. So I bought even more here. And then finally I sold the majority at the gap at 52.13. So what turned out to be my average, it turned out to be, the bottom of this was 49.57. So I wound up selling to 52.17, 49.57, 52. So it's basically $1.80 off, though I still have some, but I didn't say, okay, now I got it. Let's really rock. My timing was poor. I actually made money somehow out of the half of it. Now I have a smaller position. My average cost is down. I want to say I really don't care, but the trade over for me, this fast move down, especially for the last, even 2 days from 54 to 49, a $5 move is $5 move on volume. My timing was wrong. So I have to admit that I didn't catch the knife correctly, but I got out of it. So next, what are you going to do? So I caught the market right. I mean, the market was flying, but I didn't buy the best, I didn't buy the better ones, or as Tim would say, I didn't buy the green ones, the relative strength. And what was the relative strength? I said it before. It was Fastly. Stock closed at 988, had a huge upgrade, also does some business with China. We'll look into that later. Opened up at 11, did the usual, the rip, the dip to shake everybody that was out, that said it was 980, and then opened at 11. Oh, everybody said, oh, look, I got a winner. And they punted. And I don't blame them. But once it broke the open at 1124, especially with the futures coming down, that was it. Stock had huge range, huge volume. It had a ton of volume. And once it broke the opening range breakout, which was what? 1125, the stock's now 1241. Let's look at the long term. So now you got something. This is something to be interested in. Now it looks too simple, meaning it's over the 200-day, huge volume, just like it did last time. I don't trust it. Now I want to look what the news is. Now I see that it's got range and everything, and the quantitative aspects that I like, which is the aforementioned three. Now I want to know about the fundamental or the qualitative situation, the news. Why is it up? I hope it has to do with China, because the same reason why this stock broke down from 29 one day to 20. Oh, this day right here was China news. So let's keep that in mind. What's breaking high here? All right, so a lot of things are going on. Good things are going on. Coles, Twilo had news. One of my better shorts, 64.50. That didn't show pre-market for some reason. I covered it at 62.50. It went down to 60, but you got to be nervous about this. This Twilo was once 520. So what was the news? You have to see what the common denominator. Forget about Twilo. It could have been Best Buy or Hewlett Packard. They cut workforce. They're trying to get lean and mean to cut costs. And maybe everybody thinks this will be accretive into next earnings. I'm not sure when the earnings have, but they're buying these type of bad news. They weren't doing them Thursday and Friday. Today they're happy to do it. You have to be aware. Microsoft acting really well, not even oversold, overbought yet. AMD, GFS, Royal Caribbean still going nice after the pullback. CFLT, I mentioned it. Where was it before? I mentioned 10 minutes ago. I left 30 cents on the table. Could have been someone. AI, you don't want AI to bounce. When AI bounces, the rest of the market's going to go down. That's what the rotation is now. So when you wake up this morning and you see the futures up, 40 handles, and you're like, finally, I got this AI. No, the one is net. That had the earnings on Friday. There was that upprint. Well, there's a great fade, but for net to come back 58 to 63 after that huge gap up, that's positive price action. I mean, this stock is turning into a bullish situation now. Unfortunately, it's prone to interest rates, and it goes with these other stocks like Square, PayPal, blah, blah, blah. CFLP, Royal Caribbean. Let's go to some questions. I'm going to leave it off here. Do I have anything that's moving? No. Oil still selling off. Marna, Chewy, Tops. This play of the day was Xpon. Could have been someone. I sold it. It was getting weak. I bought it at the high. I top tick Venezia. All right, I top tick Xpon. It happens. I didn't buy much. I started buying it here. My price on Xpon to call it quits was 308. But finally I said, I don't want to wait till 308. So I sold Xpon 330. It's 350. I had 4,000 or 5,000 shares, something like that. Actually, you got to keep your eye on it. So Xpon is a hot stock. I know it in TGH. I'm going to finish with going in TGH in a second, but AUAX still going. Bunch of my other stocks here. XBI is still bad in my opinion. Futures are up nice. XBI coming off the 50-day. I get it. But listen, the money's been made for today. Use software. Everybody's chirping at me right now. Unity. Could have had it this morning at 34. Now it's 37. Not for me. It's in the danger zone, a little overbought. Next, let's go into some TGH situations. Okay. As usual, Monday, our routine. Macro picture. We always start with Helene's charts. NASDAQ with an uptick in stocks making new lows. Keep that in mind, please. It seems like right now it's mega cap, or it's half mega cap. It's Apple and Microsoft. Sans Google, as you know, is negative, and Tesla. Again, videos. Paul, thank you for posting. Bank of America fund model. Just not me. I'm doing Killer Messenger. Goldman sentiment. I'm not happy about it. There, just like you, I don't like the fact that Goldman is basically what the same as hedge funds are. They bought, they're in now. So any type of, something that goes your way, that doesn't go the CPI way, it could get, it could get a little messier than you want it to be. Even me, I want it to listen. I hope the VIX goes to 40, but I still have some long-term positions that I have to trade out of. Or the hedge funds. Oh, that's a euphoria model. Here's the hedge fund exposure. Now when they get going in, the market dips. When they get heavy, market dips. When they were all out, you see the bottom here? They didn't want anything to do with it. So they squeezed them. Now, even with the hedge funds more than invested, if you will, Goldman more invested, I'm sure, than they like to be at this point. A couple of NAAM exposure higher than you'd like it to be, but what puzzles me is further again on TGH is this. Leading indicators show follow through this week, but bearish things are bonds in the US dollar are back into stage 2, like the UUP. All right. Here's what this is not what scares me. This makes me alter my plan. I'm going to end it here. Because I had that. My plan is this. Always been stock picking. That's been the theme of 2023. It's been the theme of many. Don't get me wrong. I didn't I didn't, split the atom, but you have to be wary of this because I love stats and, stats do come true. That's why we're here. Is that the S&P has seen an average move up or down of 2.6% of the day CPI was released over the last 6 months. 2.6%. So my portfolio, and I have a nice healthy 7-figure one, would move probably 4 to 5%. So, just got to keep drinking and not go to sleep tonight. I'm being facetious. SQQQ. You know what? When I posted this, then I had to post this. Forget about the VIX for a second. And I understand protection is actually expensive, as they said. This is the protection on the NASDAQ. So maybe the market doesn't come down, but I think if the CPI is poor or is not market favorable, the ones that they will hit are the technology stocks. And that could be your hedge right there, because maybe they take up the oils, and that's a part of the SPX. So I don't necessarily that the VIX might be the hedge. I'm not sure what the hedge is. I have people that are specialists in this, and one's video I'm going to watch at 9:30 a.m. back on our YouTube channel, but I'm going to make my rounds. I really am. I'm going to find out what's the deal here, but SQQQ could be a hedge. Always the plan. I shared my universe as usual. Anybody else have any questions? I do. Not sure. Yeah, possible. There's good opinions on the VIX. There's more opinions on the VIX than who was going to win the Super Bowl yesterday. But everybody's at a high level opinion. I appreciate that. But you know what? You don't have to, because this is what's important right now. Hold on. Stock scanner. You have to write this down before the number. I wrote them down. As a matter of fact, if you remember on Friday, go to the video. I wrote down Hassan calls. That worked. Where's Hassan now? Giddy up. All right, but this is what really matters. Hold on, make sure the screen I'm sharing this properly, if you will. You know what? You don't have to worry about CPI. You have to worry about that your stocks, your relative stocks will have pin action. I shouldn't say you have to worry about it. You do have to worry about it. It's part of your major plan. But as somebody who wants to be a person that takes money out of the market on a daily basis, eBet, although it's a cheap stock, 1,600% of its volume. Fastly, again, we mentioned it, doing huge volume. It's up 26%. It's on the 6-month high. We should mention it. I don't know why I'm patting myself on the back. PDD, we mentioned that as well. Toast, that's going in the fund. This stock I like. Toaster, Coach mentioned it. I missed it on the toaster. Everybody do the due diligence on the toast. I like this stock. Matter of fact, it was written down. Fund. Here's the fund. I'm looking at Toast. I'll tell you what I'm looking at in the fund to add to or buy. I'm looking at Toast. Let me finish this. Fastly, Toast, eBay had good news. Etsy acting well, down high in relative volume. We got to finish. Fisker, Zim got downgraded. Okta Software, big deal. Bungie, oil related, nothing. So when I look at this on stocks that are down with big, decent volume, 100%, nothing just scares me. I'm not scared of Okta being down or Zim integrated. Fisker, big deal. I'm like, you know what I mean? Let's look at breakout on the day and the time range. Microsoft, I mentioned I should. Onion. There's another one that Coach mentioned, the shoemaker Onion. I like that stock, and it's coming. Listen, it's coming back right on the dip now. This is a stock a lot of people have their eye on too. It's a sexy shoemaker. Coach mentioned it a couple of times. It was in the same conversation with Toast, and the other one was MBLY. 3 stocks Coach asked me on. I meant look at. All right, so Microsoft SPR goes with Boeing. Fastly, Marvell, a good one. What's breaking down on the day is 11:30 because I have to end it. Nothing interesting. Zimmer mentioned it before. Big deal. All right. So what stocks do I have my eye on the fund? It doesn't mean I'm going to add to it. It means maybe if the CPI comes in favorable to the relative rotation that I'm looking at. I'm open to questions. So I am buying Toast. I am buying MU. It's a 50-50, but I like where I'm entering it. It's lagging the semis. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to give it much, but I like my entry point. GFS, giddy up. I love that stock. AYX I missed. Look at this too. Can't catch them all. DocuSign I want to buy. Another one. Asan. We're going to go with a smart money goes. Asan is having good earnings flow there, but that's not going to be heavy. Good IoT. I'm getting chirps about this one. IoT. Again, the chirping about IoT. What else are we chirping about? I'll leave it. It says fun. Toast, IOT, Figs, SQL, RCL. That's it so far. AI, I might add. You. Who are you? Got to do it. Made a nice run up. You, I'm adding it. So that's a couple of names I'm looking at. Anybody has any questions? Fine. I appreciate that. Until then, it's our job to bring you the stocks that are moving. It's our job to actually make this TradeGATEHub a one-stop shop so we don't have to go to 19 different websites. And we'll just look at this thing because eventually that's what it's going to be. You're eventually going to sign on. You go, well, I don't want to hear Mike V today. And I get it. My wife says the same thing, but I want to know what the indices are doing. And here they are right here by range, by price action. You know what? I want to see what the commodities are doing today. Or I don't even want to look at Mike V. You go by percentage change. These are all commodities that are going up by percentage down and up by percentage change down. Plus the chart. Great. You know what? I don't even want to hear Mike V at all. I'm going to mute him. But you know what? I really got Mike V does say, price action, volume, and range. So you know what I'm going to go to? I'm going to go to the top news page. And look what happened in stocks 7 minutes ago or 9 minutes ago. Upstart. These are stocks curated for my Twitter feed that we can post. So here's everything from Forex, global headlines, crypto, commodities. But most importantly, if I really want to know what these guys are doing, I'm going to go to the Red YouTube channel and I'm going to listen to Coach at 9:30 because he obviously is on every day at 9:30. And I'm going to go back and watch myself, not because I'm vain, because I'm watching. Those days are over too, because I'm going to watch what I did wrong and how I can make this product better and basically continue with TradeGATEHub mantra of giving you quality over quantity. So until then, remember CPI is tomorrow morning, and you want to know how you can know that, because if you do choose to mute me, you could see the fact that I posted this day's weekly calendar. It's right here. Here's our calendar for the week, and here's the earnings calendar for the week. It's all you need to build a plan. So therefore, thank you for tuning in. I went a little bit overboard, but Mondays are very important. So once again, thanks for your time. Have a plan. Trade well.